Unbossed. Unapologetic. Unscripted. The Tesla and Figaro Show. AM KTLV 1220. Listen live at TeslaandFigaro.com.
TeslaandFigaro.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is June 15th, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. For those who are listening on the Central Standard Time, it is 5:30, but 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, where we are focusing on an Orlando, Florida issue. This show is uncensored, a little bit different than what I normally do on Wednesdays at 5:30 at KTLV 1220 Oklahoma City, because this is a highly charged issue. For those of you who don't know, most of my political career that I have been engaged in politics has been in Orlando, Florida. Has worked on several campaigns there in the area, still connected, very much connected on what is going on in Orlando, Florida. Several friends that are in and out of politics, and this is an issue that we need to address tonight. The case, what is known as Noel Carter. Have a lot of guests on the line. I see about 10 people that have already called in, and please stay there. I will get to you momentarily. We're going to go straight to the attorney for Noel Carter to give us an update on this case, to let us know what's going on. Attorney Natalie Jackson, who is known as Trayvon Martin's local attorney in several other high-profile cases. Recently, she was involved in the Orange County Convention Center where the protesters were arrested in that area. She's also was the attorney associated with the big barbershop case, Edwin McFarland, and the list goes on and on. So very well known there in the Orlando, Central Florida area. She's going to be joining us quickly to let us know what happened on the Noel Carter case, and more specifically what happened today at the city of Orlando since the live comments were cut off. She's going to give us an update on that. We also have joining us coming on later on the show, Lawana Gelzer, who is over the National Action Network there in Orlando, Florida. She will be explaining why her organization is calling for the chief's resignation and their involvement on that, and several other callers. I've invited so many people to call in and chime in on this uncensored show, so I want to thank you for listening. You can listen or call in at 347-327-9514. Again, it's 347-327-9514. For the Listen Live link, go to www.TeslaandFigaro.com. I put it right on the home page so that you don't have to worry about trying to find it. You can click on it and immediately listen live, and certainly welcome to call in. There's no time limit tonight, just as well as there's no restriction on content. So we're going to go straight to Natalie Jackson, who's had a busy day out here in Orlando on this Pacific case, and wanted to welcome her to the show. Hi, Natalie.
Thank you, Teslin, for having me. I love your show. You give it straight, no chaser, so I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate it. I think this is real important. You know, we have black media, a couple different black media outlets there in Orlando, Florida, but I really love this forum because we really do have a chance, you know, to not be restricted with our words, like in traditional radio. So I thought this case was important. As you know, I support you in all things that you do, and I did want to, you know, address this issue not only specifically because of your case, but also, you know, one of my main concerns is black leadership and the voices or the lack thereof. So tell us, break down to us what happened with the Noel Carter case from the top for those who are not aware.
Okay, for those who are not aware, on June 4th, Noel Carter was arrested by the Orlando Police Department. Now, let me tell you what happened in that case on June 4th. On June 4th, Noel Carter was at a venue downtown with a female that he dated. They were outside. They had gotten into an argument. They actually were gotten into a discussion. While they were discussing things, one of OPD's officers just came up and shoved Noel and told him to get to one side and told her to get to one side. We believe that this officer thought he was playing some sort of rescue or preening in front of a pretty girl. As Noel is talking to him and asking him why did he shove him, the officer gets upset that Noel is questioning him. He tells the girl to get to one side, to Noel to get to one side. Now, it's very important because a lot of people are questioning because these same officers arrested Noel for domestic violence for that instance. it's very important to point out to your listeners that even in the officer's police report, they do not allege domestic violence. In their police report, they say that the young lady tried to walk away from Noel. He grabbed her hand and tried to stop her to keep her from walking away. That is not domestic violence. Noel says that they were talking. He just said, hey, don't go. There was no domestic violence. The young lady wrote a statement the night of the incident. Her statement didn't even allege that Noel did anything to her. She didn't allege that he hit her, that he threatened her, that she felt threatened, that she needed the police's help. So that's the first thing. This whole domestic violence case that they're trying to say, it never happened. It is what they are using to excuse their actions, which was caught on film. Now let's talk about what Orlando Police Department did. As Noel was trying to talk to them, they got irate that he was questioning their authority, that he just said, hey, why are you guys hitting me? What are you doing? There are 3 videotapes that show Noel being passive, not being aggressive to these officers at all. 3 videotapes that show the officers beating Noel, and really they are escalating the situation, becoming more and more aggressive in the situation. All 3 of these videotapes, they are out in the public, so all the public can see these videotapes. The thing that the police officers are saying, they're saying that Noel attacked them, but conveniently that's the only thing that's not on 3 different videotapes. And Noel says that it never happened. Noel said, hey, what happened? One of the officers took out his baton and started to beat Noel. The officer also tried to tase Noel. At that point, Noel turns away from the officer to run away with his hands up. There's a video that is showing that. In the video, the officer is telling Noel to get down on the ground, get down on the ground. Noel gets down on the ground with his hands up. The other officer comes over to assist his partner, and he starts beating Noel. At that point, Noel's like, let me get out of this situation. So he just tries to get away from being beaten. So he runs away from being beaten. And you see on the Orlando Sentinel video that they continue to beat him. They're following him, and when they catch him, they beat him again. When he's running away, Noel decides they could shoot me, so let me just sit down on this curb and put my hands up so that they know, let me go in a lower position, in a passive position, so that they know I'm not a threat to them. That is when we see the Orlando Sentinel video where both officers run up to Noel and kick him in the head with steel-toe boots. And that is the point where the young lady, this is the 3rd video now, there's a young lady who took out her camera and started recording because she saw that. There was something that made her take out her camera and record. That's very important. All that being said is that Noel was arrested and charged for battery on a law enforcement officer, for resisting with violence, for resisting without violence, and for domestic violence. Now, if you look at all 4 of those charges, 3 of those charges you need some underlying charge for, which is for battery without violence, battery with violence, and battery on a law enforcement officer. There has to be some underlying charge. That goes back to the whole DV and why they're making Noel to be like he's a violent person. Noel is a banker. He doesn't have any criminal background. He also doesn't have any domestic violence background. I've spoken to his family. I've spoken to ex-girlfriends. No one accuses Noel. They said that he's very gentle and he respects women. So it's insulting to have the chief of police get on television and make him out to be this woman beater, because and it's also slanderous. It's slanderous for him to do that, because there is no allegations from the young lady, and even there's no allegations from his own police officers in their police report. Now, Tez, and I know I'm talking a lot, but this is very important for your listeners to know. The police wrote a 1-page report the night of the incident. It is not even a whole page. It's an incident report that's half a page the night of the incident. The video that the young lady had, she called West Channel 2 News and gave the news the video and said that she didn't see Noel doing anything to them, and she gave an interview on Friday. On Monday, the police issued a supplemental report after the video had come out, alleging that Noel committed all these batteries and crime on the police and that he tried to take their taser and that he tried to run through pepper spray and being tased 3 or 4 times. And all of this is a fabrication based on them seeing a video. So you don't get to write a police report after an innocent bystander has caught you on camera beating and abusing someone. And that's what they did. So here you have the same people who were caught on camera beating and abusing Noel, who writes a police report that is going to be used against him in a court of law. That is not fair, and that's what we citizens have to stand up and fight against.
Okay, now before we transition on exactly what happened, because I know you have to go, and I'm going to get to
well, I can take time
the commentary
for you,
from the community. Yeah. So, but I want to know what was the race of the young lady that Noel was with, and I'm saying it not to make anything racial, but there is a lot of interracial dating in Orlando, more than I've ever seen anywhere that I've lived: Dallas, Chicago, Oklahoma City. So, can you tell us the race of the young lady?
I will tell you. Yes, she is a Hispanic young lady. One of the officers was Hispanic, and one of the officers was black. So the two officers, Officer David Cruz is Hispanic, Officer Charles May is black.
Okay, so
and
this shows
one
that.
Other.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think one other important thing, you asked me what else happened today, is that Attorney Bruce Mount, who is an attorney here in Orlando, he has witness statements from 2 witnesses who came forth after seeing this on television. They called West Channel 2 News. West gave them my telephone number. I gave them Attorney Bruce Mount's number, and Bruce Mount took witness statements from them and forwarded those witness statements today to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, to the state attorney's office, and also to Internal Affairs at OPD. That's very important because these are 2 bystanders who were using the ATM at the corner. So they have the timestamp that they were there, so they can prove they were there. And they back Noel's story 100%. They said the police officers were overly aggressive. They said they did not see any abuse with the young lady. They said that the young lady was actually crying for the police officers to leave Noel alone.
So this goes to show, because, obviously, the cases you've been involved with have, typically been the white officer, the black, it's always been white and black. So this shows that there, too, can be an abuse of power among minority officers as well. And so I think that's important because we saw a little bit of it with the Walter Scott case as far as videos are concerned. The Walter Scott case having the black officer that, kind of came on the side and didn't do what he should have done. But would you say this is very different
we saw it in Baltimore,
as far as video?
Remember, Baltimore. Well, remember
right,
Baltimore.
Those
are Hispanic, those are white, they're black.
Right, but the ones that
so
actually
it really
in the cart, Go ahead.
Yeah, it really is a police culture that we're dealing with. So this is a culture, a police culture that sees black men as suspicious, as violent, as angry, and when you have a 12-year-old boy like Tamar Rice, who, when you read the reports, the police thought he was 18 years old. They thought that he was angry and aggressive. This is a symptomatic thing in their heads that we have to get over, and it's a part of the police culture. It's ingrained in them when they see black men to think these black men are going to be aggressive. So any questioning of them, which is saying, when I say Noel question them, Noel's like, hey, what are you doing? That's something anyone would do when someone comes and shoves them. So when I say that, those are the things where that can be considered, oh, you're aggressive. And that's not fair.
So you're saying that even the culture, including African Americans, I want to make sure we're clear, African Americans and Hispanics even still have the culture of seeing black men in that way. Is that what you're saying? Because I think that's important, because that's what the show is all about, what black leadership is going to do and how black leadership also sees African Americans as well. So that's what you mean when you say the culture, regardless of the color.
I mean that there's a police culture. There's a police culture that targets black men because they believe that they are aggressive. They've been taught that they are aggressive, that they're violent, and that they are a part of they are thugs. All these names of people that they place on them, and in their head, that's what they're taught. So it is a police culture. It goes across all races, and it is a thing in certain police. And I won't say all police, certain police, but when it becomes a part of the culture, even though it's not all police, it's something that is a part of every all police culture.
Okay, now fast forward to what happened, because I want to get to these calls. I want to let you go do what you need to do with your other client. Thank you for taking that time. Tell us what happened today, because a lot of people were waiting to hear the comments, but after the agenda was over, the city of Orlando cut it off. So tell us what happened with the comments today and the response from the elected officials.
Okay, I think it's very important to talk about what today was. What we are doing is we're planning an organized action. With any organized action, there are steps. The first step is information gathering, questioning the leadership, what they are going to do. Ultimately, this is the elected officials and the city leadership's job to fix this problem. It is not the people, but the people may have to pressure them to do so. So the first thing is information gathering. What are they going to do? The second thing is to gather a coalition of different organizations who may have different goals and different objectives, but finding out what are our common goals as far as police brutality and what do we want to present. Once you've found out the common goals, the third thing is to memorialize those goals in a document that you present to the city leadership. Once you present that to the city leadership, you also give them a timeline for implementation. And then it's in the city leadership's hands. If the city leadership does not implement within that certain timeline, organized action says that is the time that you protest. That is the time that you organize boycott, protests, and other types of maybe civil disobedience, things like that, to get the attention of leadership. Ultimately, the people run the government. It's not we should not cower to government. So one of the things that I did see today was, when I listened earlier before the city commissioners meeting to Chief Mina present a presentation on community policing to the city leaders. With community policing, it's very important to have that, but that's only one of a long-term policy that you need. The question is, what are we going to do immediately about Noel's case and about other cases like Noel? What are we going to do immediately? So the answer to that really is to institute a zero tolerance policy. Today in the city council's meeting, that's what we talked about. We laid out to them that we are here to find out what you are going to do, and we are waiting to hear what you are going to do.
Was that presentation already scheduled? Do you know, prior to
I
the
don't
presentation?
know. I don't know.
I'm curious about that on the timing.
Yeah, I was told about the community policing presentation by reporters who called me this morning.
Because I thought that was interesting. Commissioner Sam Means, saying that he knows how important it is, how foot patrol is so important, but didn't mention anything about the police officer's foot being on Noel's neck. So I thought that was interesting. So today, was there any feedback after? I guess what did you present to them?
There was no feedback. I presented to them Noel's case, and I presented to them what we're in the first part of this organized civil action. The first part is asking them what are they going to do.
And so no one said
anything? There was no feedback today.
Okay, so across the board.
Well, I will say Commissioner Hill did make a statement at the end, and she made a statement that she is very concerned about this. She directed her statement to Noel Carter, who was there. Noel Carter also made a statement. And her statement directed to him was that she's concerned about what happened, and she would guarantee him a fair and impartial review of this.
Okay, so she said Noel, she would guarantee it.
Yes, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think that's what she said. Noel Carter's statement was very interesting because he dealt with the fact that he has been slandered all over the media by Chief Mina. He said that Chief Mina had even compared him to a woman-beating murderer. So, and he said that is not right because Chief Mina has represented facts to the media that are not true. They're not in the police report. They're not sustainable. These are not allegations from anyone except the very people who were caught on tape beating Noel. Now, once again, I have to remind you, Noel Carter, he's a banker with no criminal record. His whole livelihood is dependent on him having a financial service license. He's been charged with 2 felonies because of the same officers who beat him charged him with 2 felonies. No matter what, and we feel very confident that this case should be dropped, but if it's not dropped, we feel very confident that we will win it at trial. So but the thing is, no matter what, they can never take this back that Noel Carter now has an arrest record. He now has a court record. He now has a mug shot. He now has been over the media. And it's very important to note that we did not get into this case until Tuesday. By Tuesday, Chief Mina had already given all the local news stations an interview, and where he backed up his officers. He said there was no reason to put them on leave, and that Noel did all these things wrong. He read it straight from the police report, that Noel did all these things wrong. Today, however, he did say that the officers are now on desk duty. So he said that he's put the officers on desk duty. They're no longer on
desk duty, but still not even on administrative leave. Okay. And so just a quick question before you go. Actually, on the cameras, the trying to get the taser, any of that, because I know there were several different accounts, several different videos, and I know some of it was recorded, some of it was not. Was anything recorded with him trying to take the taser?
He did not try to take the taser. That was all made up. It is, and that's what I want your listeners to know, that there are 3 different videos by 3 different people. There were people at the venue that recorded. There was the Orlando Sentinel surveillance video on their building that recorded. There was the young lady whose video everyone has seen, where the police officer kicking and tasing Noel. So there are 3 different videos. None of the videos show anything that the police officers wrote in their reports about Noel. So they want us to believe, they want us to discount what we saw on the video, which is them beating, kicking, tasing, pepper spraying Noel while he's submissively sitting on the ground, and they want us to believe them. That is, it goes beyond, it's beyond the pale that they would even, that Chief Mina would even support that. What I would say with Chief Mina, what Chief Mina should have done is just say, I have no comment until the investigation is over. It is not fair for him to get on television and regurgitate these lies about Noel Carter. Noel Carter has a life. Noel Carter has a family. Noel Carter has a career too. And it's not fair that you have government agencies who get on television and defame citizens when they are dead wrong. And so that is why we are fighting. I know that you're going to be interviewing Luana Gelzer with National Action Network. She's a great person. She is one of the groups that is supporting us with this. We do have different objectives, though. I know one of the things that Luana is calling for is the resignation of Chief Mina. At this point, we are not calling for that. We are calling for these officers to be fired because they have lost all public confidence. There's no public confidence in them anymore. They can't work efficiently anymore. They need to be fired. We're calling for Chief Mina to be sanctioned and his whole organization to be retrained on excessive force. We're calling for the charges against Noel Carter to be dropped, the arrest charges against him to be dropped, a public apology to be issued to the public, and we're calling for the city council to institute a zero-tolerance policy. Once officers are investigated, which they deserve a fairness too, so they should get a fair investigation too, and they also have the Officer Bill of Rights, which is a Florida statute. So once they've gone through that process, they should be fired, zero tolerance. Here, this is a case that is very clear. Even if you separate the two, Noel's criminal case from the excessive force case, there is no excuse for what was seen on that video. You do not have to look at the totality of the circumstances. You see a passive man who is being kicked and tased by Orlando Police Department. They cannot allow that to stand. They need to do something. They need to do it now. And when I say they, I mean the people who are in charge of the police department, which is our city leaders, which is the city commission, the city council, and the mayor. And it is on them. That is who we're looking at. The day of firing 1 or 2 police officers and thinking that it's over, I think those days have to be gone, because there's a culture, and we need to look at the culture, and we need to hold leadership responsible for that culture.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Natalie Jackson, for calling in. Just as a quick recap, you are calling for the officers to be fired, charges to be dropped, a public apology from the chief's sanction, and also a zero-tolerance policy with the city of Orlando that could possibly be duplicated all over the country, apparently, with everything going on. I do appreciate
the police department to be retrained on excessive force tactics. You cannot escalate a situation when the person is de-escalated.
Okay. Well, you heard directly from Attorney Natalie Jackson. I appreciate it. I know you had a very long day. You've been running back to back, but I did want to hear from the attorney first so that we get a clear understanding before we start going into public comment. Thank you so much, Natalie, for always allowing me an opportunity to be a part of what you're doing and at least help spread the message. We will check back in with you as this case develops. We know that there's only a certain amount of time that the media picks it up, but my goal that I always try to do is to keep the conversation going, whether we're using social media, radio, videos, whatever we need to do to keep that communication going. So I thank you so much for calling, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Tez, and I just want to make one more comment. People want to know, what can we do? How can we instill public trust in these police officers? How can we fix this? The way to fix it is a zero-tolerance policy. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Natalie. That was Attorney Natalie Jackson who called in. I have about 10 people or 12 callers on the line. Please stay right there because I want to hear everything that people have to say. I want to get to you. I know I have several people with a difference of opinion. Right now I'm going to go to my former co-host, or maybe I was his co-host, Don Miller, the only Don Miller, who will probably have a very different opinion than most of my callers on the line, but I wanted to get his feedback. Don, you're on the line. So we heard from Natalie Jackson a little recap of the case, but I wanted you to get on because I know that you and I have talked extensively about black leadership, and that's what this show is all about.
I think we need to, first of all, Natalie Jackson is a hard worker, and she's a great friend for many years. I commend her on her efforts to attempt to make a difference and chase that paper. I ain't mad at you. Go get your money, boo-boo. Get your money, boo-boo. Ted, you keep referring to these ass cracks as leadership. This is misleadership. This is black misleadership. If you look at Orlando, the city council of Orlando, we have absolutely two idiots representing the black community. Sam Ings, who I have no idea what the hell he does, and a 21-time arrested former crackhead, Regina Hill. Now, I'm sure people can be redeemed because they always hit you with the scripture. But the fact of the matter is, when you send people like this to speak on behalf of a constituent group that has for so long dealt with the same level of disengagement and disenfranchisement, what the hell do you expect? Regina Hill gonna ride with the cops because she's scared of the police. She's been locked up 21 times. You think she ain't gonna be careful on the position she take? Secondly, Sam Ings was a cop for 35 years. What do you think his position gonna be? What do you think his position gonna be? You got one, you got one clown that's scared of the cop, and you got another clown that's a cop.
Well, let me be clear on his position because he was very proud to say on what I saw on the live feed, saying, well, as you know, Chief and I go way back, and I know it's important, that Foot Patrol, which again brings me back to Val Demons. I'm sorry to throw Val Demons under the bus. I was a big fan of Val. Had her on my TV show when I first came to Orlando, but I believe
caught up in the hype. You got caught up in the hype.
I was glad that she was doing what she was doing as far as police. I think, and you know this, Don, as opposed to running for mayor or Congress, she should probably get involved with CIA. Yeah, go over there with FBI.
She's a decent
go over there
chief.
with the but what I'm saying is to transition over to politics was my concern. That's when I spoke out and said, though that's not the same thing, because as you saw with Sam Ings, who boldly, proudly said, we go way back. Well, guess what, Sam Ings? That doesn't give people public trust, because at the end of the day, we don't trust you just because you're black, as you see with the black officers. The politicians are there to question and to challenge, not to necessarily be in defense of any organization, whether it be attorneys, lobbyists, police officers. Let's be clear about this off the jump. I'm not a hate whitey across the board type of female. I was a police officer myself in the military, so I get it. But sometimes there are times that we have to be in position to question authority. So when Sam Ings is sitting up there with his red tie talking about how he goes so far back with the police chief, well, guess what, Sam? You represent half of your district is the hood, so I don't know how comfortable they were with that statement. And instead of him appeasing, I had a friend of mine from Oklahoma City, Mr. Pruitt, your phone, I can hear you moving around. My friend, Mr. Pruitt from NAACP, who doesn't know any of the players, he was watching, and he thought that position meant that Sam was trying to make sure we were comfortable with knowing that he has a good relationship, but said, you don't know these people. Sam was letting Chief know that Chief I need you to be comfortable, that I have your back. He could give a damn about what his district feels or how they felt disrespected by that. Would you agree with that?
But again, Taz, if you look at the makeup of the representation of that district, again, you got a cop of 35 years and a woman who ran from the cops for 35 years. So you got two people. Absolutely. Let's be clear here, okay? You have two people, right, that are in some way going to take a position, and at the best it's going to be a soft stance. Let's be clear. Mm-hmm. Regina's stance will be soft, and Sam is the police. So listen, look, I've followed a little bit of what transpired, but I've come to a conclusion. Young black men in America, and I have a young black man that I'm trying to raise, and I am teaching him right now in the time that we're living in, comply. Comply. That is the key word that I'm going to say
but
today.
Don, some people are complying, but some people are complying.
Yeah,
and still,
yeah, but you say something, Taz, quite frankly, let's be clear.
Let's be clear. Now, I'm not about running. You run, you're probably going to get shot. I mean, we know about that. That's pretty clear. It doesn't make it right or wrong. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but if you run, chances are you're going to get shot. So I understand what we need to do, but we also still have to talk about what the hell they need to be doing, too.
Well, they don't need to do anything because, Taz, they don't. Look, Regina don't have to do anything. Sam don't have to do anything. Barack Hussein Obama don't have to do anything because they are elected by a subgroup of people who don't pay attention. This is what I'm saying to you. There's no level of accountability. Being a black politician and being a black pastor is the same damn thing in America today. You're not held accountable. Do whatever you want to do and just ride out, and when you need me, I'll be there for you. And that's the problem. Mm-hmm. These people should never have been elected. They should have never been elected. 12,157 elected black officials in America. Not one of them have been arrested more than 20 times, but the young lady who represents Orlando. Let's be clear here. Secondly, this is a crisis in America, not just Orlando. Misrepresentation, misleadership. Until you look, everybody's upset. Oh, another black man got beat down. He just happens to have a job, as many of them don't. Okay, so does it change anything? No, because they'll beat the hell out of Don Miller if I don't comply as quick as they expect me to. This needs to be dealt with from the top, Tez. And you say it all the time. We said it on the show together, and we were on the air together. Until we realize that our voice is our vote and leverage our vote, and understand the value and the fact that our vote is the only currency that we have, Tez.
You're right.
Forget, listen, the days of Corrine Brown and screaming and hollering ass politicians is over. Nobody wants to hear it. We need to find young people who are aggressive in their approach to the conversation, but they have to be educated too, Tez. Until we send people who have the ability to strategically think about how they want to engage the conversation. Secondly, we need to stop sending black folk who scatter white folk to represent us. Okay? If you scatter white people, go find something else to do. We keep electing black folk who are scared white folk.
And why are they scared? Because Natalie was really confused. She said, but I don't understand. They get elected by black people. I said, well, that's why you're not a politician. Why I'm not a politician? Because the culture, you're so afraid. I'm going to give you an example. I was watching and please, everybody, stay right there because I want to get to everybody on the line. I know both our leads are here. We're going to get to Luana. Everybody's on the line. Stay right there. But I thought it was so interesting. I went to a Black Panther premiere movie the other day. More white people were there than black people. The black people were so worried about making sure the white people were comfortable when the white people were okay with the conversation. Otherwise, they wouldn't have came to the Black Panther movie. So it's so interesting to me that it's always us trying to make sure they're comfortable, trying to make sure that we're seen on their good side, not realizing they'll always see you. Now, I love white folks. They've paid my invoices far quicker than black people ever will. So I have no problem with white people when I say this. So I want to be crystal clear that I have to fight my own people harder, even though I'm fighting for my own people. So let's be clear, put that disclaimer out there. But what I find interesting in, they are so worried about being liked and so worried about, they said it on my show last week with Dr. Umar Johnson, where we rather take the kibbles and bits than nothing at all. So it's not okay anymore to starve. It's not okay anymore. If you can't give it to me right, don't give it to me at all. Where has that mindset gone? Farrakhan said that this young generation is not the wisest, but it's the most fearless. And until we have fearful leaders in place that the public is comfortable with electing, because that's what it comes down to. The public being comfortable with having people that challenge the system. We're going to keep finding ourselves in the same thing. You hit it right on the nail with the currency. Matter of fact, I said it on my post today. Our vote is our value. So our value has gone down. The stock market has gone down, which is why I'm at a point to say I'm holding my vote until there's ransom. I'm losing anyway. What's the point? When we go off this ideal...
Ted, you're 100% right, because let's look really taking a position to really sound or be the sounding board for what troubles our, not only the crime that affects our community or the disrespect by authority, but just the economic situation that we consistently find ourselves in. The fact of the matter is we have, over the years, let's be clear, continued to vote for people who did not and continue not to have our best interests. And until we change that, you know, there's some great young people. You mentioned the Alis. They're great young people, and they got some great ideas, you know, but we need to, you know, you talked about LaWanna Gelzer joining the show shortly. LaWanna Gelzer is a really nice lady. I've known her for a long time, but she needs to sit her ass down somewhere, okay? And she says she's in charge of the NAN, what's the NAN, okay? Okay, nothing-ass Negroes. The Mary Marchers, they don't make a difference. Al Sharpton is a con man who got a bunch of goofballs together to speak on his behalf, okay? Al Sharpton's full of shit, Tez. And the organization, NAN, is a full-of-shit organization. So, LaWanna Gelzer, I'm sorry, young lady, you have no credibility. We got to find people with credibility to run, because they're going to laugh. She's run more races than Carl Lewis. The fact of the matter is, it's time to take a position.
Hey, just so everybody knows, you know, you and I have what we call the NAN program that a lot of people are not.
I apologize.
That a lot of people, for those who listen, Don and I used to talk about a NAN program called the Need a Negro program. So there's very different NAN programs. I want to bring Stacey Ali on the line who's listening in. Don, stay right there so we can keep this dialogue going. It's about 13 people on the line now. Stacey, if you can turn down your volume, you're on the line joining us.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
How you doing, Miss Ali?
Oh, wow. Y'all are off the chain on this post. Hi. How are you all? I'm unbelievable. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having this discussion. Many people are afraid to have it. I'm not sure why. I know I did tag a couple of pastors. The only one that responded back to me was actually Deidre Cabarrus. I tagged Derek McCrae, I tagged Justin, I tagged another guy named David Jacquez. So I tagged these pastors, and I'm asking them, where is their voice, where is their leadership? At this point, I don't trust nobody really that's black and in power when it comes to the city and the state legislation. No one has really fought for us. My husband and myself has even experienced police brutality. When I was pregnant with my first child, I had a police follow me all the way to my mother's home. Not only did they do that, I walked in my house, waited 5 minutes, he still was outside. I came outside and asked him why is he following me. He shot a bird and rolled off. And then one time I literally got pulled over in my driveway, and as I'm getting out of the car, I look behind me, and I see lights and a gun pointed at me, my sick child in the back. So, and of course, we investigated ourselves, and we found that we did nothing wrong. And that's just always been it. But, see, what I don't understand is why do we keep running to a system that never was meant to protect us? If you look at the history of policing started to stop the slaves from running away. Police used to be slave patrol. They're doing the same thing. The difference is our shackles are off our hands and feet and are in our mind. And until we stop supporting them money-wise,
someone's moving their phone around. I'm sorry, Stacey, but I want to make sure people hear. That's probably Don moving around, probably at the bar or something right now. But I'm hearing some feedback.
I will bring it up momentarily.
Okay, but yeah, you're exactly right. And so for those who are listening, you can give a call 347-327-9514. Please share the link also that you can find on my Facebook or also TeslinFigaro.com. You know, for those who don't know, Stacey and I went back and forth. It was pretty brutal with the District 5 race. And one of the things, and because we're similar, alike in a lot of ways, both with our mouths and being very expressive. And you supported Juan Lynham, and I obviously supported Commissioner Regina Hill. And one of my issues, and I hope Juan is listening, or maybe somebody can run him down. I know he took some pictures on the beach or whatever he's going through. One of the things, because I met Juan first. He was one of the first people that I met at the African American Chamber of Commerce when I came to Orlando. And my only thing with Juan Stacey, the only thing was him not being vocal during peacetime such as this. This is a great opportunity for him. If I ran against Regina and was an attorney and got whooped by somebody, who's been arrested 23 times, I think, and that's no disrespect to Regina because obviously I was her director of communications. But if I was him, I would be trying to speak up. I think I would be trying to speak up on this issue and make it, because Juan is one of the ones that brought police brutality as an issue several years ago. He was the one that actually, is that Don's phone?
No,
whoever phone that is. My phone's on me too.
Okay, he was actually the one that said that it was because of him on why we had cameras at the lights. He talked about that during the campaign. So where is Juan? I mean, because is this not an issue when we run for office? That's another thing. It's not just candidates who win, but it's also the candidates that got off the ballot. That's why when people challenge me on what I do and why I'm speaking from different states, well, the reason why I'm still connected to Orlando is because I made my commitment on that panel that we had. Don and I, you remember, Don, we were on that panel with Derek McCray. We were on that panel with Virginia. Matter of fact, it was during the night of the All-Star game when I had employees working and could have been up there hollering all types of NBA players, not getting a date, anything, but I'm sitting up here in this panel at the church that yet we still have not followed up on any of that information that we sat there and wasted those.
Hold on, real quick. I just wanted to, Tesla, let me let you know something. Quietly, I was supporting Regina Hill first. First heard that Daisy Lynham was running because she told me she was running. Okay, when we met in the summer, she was running. I'm not the person that I'm going to vote for you just because I know you. I'm going to vote for you based upon what I know and what I think you can do. I was wholeheartedly for Regina Hill. I even tried to persuade my husband, who was on Juan Lynham's campaign, to vote for Regina Hill. There have been many nights me and Regina Hill have talked over the phone. She has called me and asked me for different advice. I've given her different advice. It wasn't until I started to realize that I'm like, hey, you got your goons out there fighting for you. Stick to the issue. Let me know what this is about. And the more and more I kept thinking about it, I go, okay, do I want somebody who is an activist, or do I want somebody who knows the lingo that's going to happen when they're sitting in the boardroom? One thing I do know is Juan knows the lingo. If he knows anything, he knows the law. One thing I do know is Regina doesn't. And there's no tea or shade or however they want to call it, since that's what she says I always throw at her. So no tea or shade to her.
That's a reality.
But
that's a reality.
In my mind, I don't think that she could sit in that boardroom and understand the lingo that is going on. And as we see, when it was the very first time to vote, she tried to opt out the vote, which even wasn't an option. And that right there, what made me change my vote to go, well, hell, if I'm going to vote for anybody, let me vote for somebody who best fits the position, even though I may not think they belong there.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
And I agree, and that's where we came. And my thing with Juan is because he knows the law, because he has access, because he knows what to do. I watched him in his leadership and was one of his biggest cheerleaders at the African American Chamber of Commerce when he first got on the scene. How he went through that whole transition with a circle of friends and gathering up all these hundreds of people, and then did nothing. So again, Juan, where are you now? These are the opportunities where leaders who are serious about, and that go for everybody. That's why I wish somebody would say something about me talking about anything about Orlando. That go for Doug Head, the white folk, the black folk, because at the end of the day, I stay committed to Orlando because I told you that I would. So I got to go down the list. Where's Alvin Moore? He ran for office. What is he doing? Greg Jackson, hey, you're a great friend of mine. I know you've been posting pictures of the saxophone and all these different types of yoga and Pilates and all that. And, I love you, Greg, so I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just asking, where is everybody that was running for office last year, running around door to door, saying that you're serious about being a voice, You're all about, being for the community. No offense, Greg. I love you, but I'm just keeping it real. Where was everybody that ran for office that still could use this as a base? I'm still connecting to the people that I promised I was going to connect to. Where are they? Where the hell are they? That's my question. Juan, where are you? Speak up. Come stand up. You were the first one said you had the police. You could get the police, the transparency. I expect to see Juan on the scene next week. Don, I got you back on the line because you were moving around.
Okay,
you got any comments on Juan?
No, I'm fine. Absolutely. Let me just say this, okay? You just mentioned some names. Mr. Greg Jackson, who ran for office, and Alvin Moore. Those guys weren't seeking to make a change. They were seeking to make some change. And I think until we understand the difference, very seriously, many people look at these positions as a means to an end. They are not engaging in this political dialogue to make a difference. They're trying to find a job. And Alvin Moore is an embarrassment. He embarrassed us during that campaign. Ladies, he made the news. He made the national news.
National news
on
with
some
the shovel. Sorry,
Alan. And Greg Jackson, if you look at it, they're jokes. And this goes back to what I'm saying. Until we find young people who have the ability to make a difference by understanding what it takes to engage, we need voices that can stand alone. Look, y'all said 5 times since I've been on this damn phone, I ain't trying to throw shade. Well, guess what? I'm throwing shade on all these assholes. Okay, and this is the problem. We always want to play the same Christian soldier and be apologetic.
Hold on, let's be clear. I throw shade. Stacey don't throw shade. I want to be clear because I love shade.
No, let me tell you why I don't throw shade, because I throw light. When you throw shade, you're kept in the darkness. When you throw light, everything is out there.
Well, we're throwing it on their ass. Go ahead, Don. Go down the list.
And then
Vincent, I know you're listening. I'm going to come right back to you. But that's what you're supposed to do.
Let's get to these pastors. Let's get to
the pastors. Let's go down the list.
Pastors, okay? We have seen a major situation in the black community in the city of Orlando with crime, okay? And you don't see any of these, I don't call names, I don't play the game. Look, you don't see any of these guys. I do like the guy McCrae. He seems like he's a stand-up guy. But some of these assholes, I'm so glad.
McCrae is a stand-up guy. I will take up.
I know.
I think he's doing a bit more, but he's doing what he can. I will say that.
I still want to slap the shit. I want to slap the shit out of about 5 of them, okay? Because they pimp these people. They suck the lifeblood out of these communities. Yes, they do. And they give nothing back but a feel-good-ass speech on a Sunday morning, and these people head right back to the plight and to the challenges and to the situations they deal with every week. Unemployment, way high. Half of them don't. It just, who are these people, and why do we allow them to take advantage? We do so because we have to always set our questions up and set our comments up. I ain't setting a damn thing up. We need to run some of these assholes out of town. And I'm telling you now, until we get loud and boisterous to those who look like us, forget the white man. Let's take the white man out of the context right now. We mad at the white man.
Exactly.
We got to be mad at these people.
Worry about what the black man's going to do. I'm going to take another call. Stay right there, Stacey. If you have me on Facebook, obviously you stay right there, Don. I'm going to have you host this all the way with me all the way through. Stacey, if you want to make a comment, you know how to reach me because I need to put some of these on mute so I can get to these other calls. Send me an instant message. Everybody who's listening that have me on Facebook, if it's something you just dying to say, send me an instant message so I can pick you up because I know some people are listening. I want to get some comments from Vincent Polite. Who's on the line. Vincent, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what's your feedback?
Well, hell, I know where all the black politicians are. They changed their name to Waldo. So when we find out where Waldo is, we'll find them. The whole thing is, and Don, I love you. You're one of my heroes. I love all the commentary I've been hearing. And I agree 100%. Until we start holding our own leaders and these institutions accountable, we got to stop looking over at the white man's yard and look at our own damn yard. It's full of crap. And we've got people that are pimping us from sun up to sundown, and we continue to embrace them. I've looked at stats for the last 2 years that shows that for the first time, African Americans at one point, 80% of the community was church. Now it's down to 53%. Why is that? But yet and still, we still have pastors running around and pretending as if they speak for the majority of the community, and they don't. They don't have that power. They don't have that reach anymore. Why? Because they've damaged their own reputation. They can run around all they want to and say that they still do. They don't. That's a vacuum in leadership. It's not there. We're still trying to really use a 1920 model, and it's 2015. And you know how I feel about old people leading young people. You know, we talk about that all the time. And I agree
but some of these young people, but let me be clear about this, because we talked about this the other day, and I want to be clear because some of you young people are soft too. I mean, there's somebody, and I do believe in throwing shade, but I don't think this guy deserves shade because he hasn't did anything. You know who I'm talking about, Don, the little young analyst you wanted to bring up as a politically astute but can't win nothing. And so I don't want to talk about him because he's a nice guy. But it's not even about just age at this point. It's about who has heart and who doesn't. Just because somebody's young doesn't mean, you know, that all of a sudden they're going to be the leader, you know, that can have a strong voice. Some of these lames are weak. Period. The WD the both concept of thinking that you're better than everybody else and afraid to speak up. So although young is important, I want to be clear that there's some young people that need to sit down too. Go ahead, Vincent. I want to bring in Beverly Burgess.
I'm talking about young people that are trained by the old head. That is a problem.
Right.
All you're doing is recycling.
But let me be clear. I'm not talking. What I'm talking about, it can't be trained. Either it's in you or it's not. I'm Tezlyn Figaro. Nobody trained me to have this big mouth. Nobody trained Don. Nobody trained you. It's either in you or it's not. It's not. I don't want to say it's a class issue because you can be upper class and still have a personality like me. I'm talking about the revolutionary mindset, the challenge the system mindset. I can't train you on that. When I went to the Democratic African American Caucus, and a friend of mine, Leslie, was saying, I want you to work with this one person. I could never work with her because nice lady, but she's a candidate out the box. Young, got the whole package, but at the end of the day, she's not going to challenge the system. So it's not about train. This comes down to who has heart. I want to go to Beverly Burgess because I want to get to everybody, and I have 12 people on the line. David, I'm going to get to you right after Beverly. Vincent, you're still on the line. Don, you're still on the line. Beverly, what are your comments?
My comments are, this is bullshit, okay? First of all, we got leaders that have been here long enough that know how things are and could have stepped up to the plate and handled everything and just really stepped up for the black community. That's the bottom line. The preachers are too busy pimping the damn people. Wake up and smell the damn coffee, okay? What they don't pimp you with on Sunday morning, they will pimp you with and say, sit back and take this shit. I am sick and tired of these Uncle Tom motherfuckers. Here it is, okay? Pimping our asses. They don't need to be sitting in the chair. Everybody too busy puckering up, kissing everybody ass. First of all, I was never born to kiss nobody ass. The bottom line is this. If you don't like when I give you the bottom line, don't ask me no damn question because I'm going to give your ass the bottom line. Regina Hill should not be sitting there for obvious reasons because she's running away from the damn cops or setting somebody else, okay? Sammy's been there long enough, red tie, bow tie, whatever you want to call that shit, he wearing, okay? He has enough experience and knowledge to know what these cops did is wrong. And then we come to our other leaders that's sitting by Uncle Tom. Damn. You still on the slave plantation? Yes, master. No, master. Wake up. You have been freed, bitches. You have been freed, okay? Stop allowing yourself to be shackled down. Do you need to go back on the plantation to understand your ass was free, or do you need to read a book, okay? Get it together.
Well, you've been listening to Cussing and Politics. You've been listening to Cussing and Politics, sponsored by the Don Miller Show and Beverly Burgess. No. This is why I'm doing the show uncensored because I knew what this was going to be. Cussing and Politics live, sponsored by the Don Miller Show.
Yeah. I don't cuss like that. I don't cuss like that. I don't know who that lady is, but I don't use them words.
Yes, he uses quite often.
We need to have a moment of
I ride out the box with it because people are angry. People are coming to my door telling me how they feel, but yet we got black leaders sitting on their asses, won't get up and do anything as if they're scared to take a stand and say, this is wrong, that
Well, Beverly, stay right there for me. Stay on hold. I want to get to, this is an uncensored show because, again, we don't have these types of forums to be able to. And I'm so glad my Oklahoma City friends are listening because I told them to call in and listen. Listen, well, that's Beverly Burgess. You know, she's the one on Facebook. She's going to put it out there just like it is. But this is not Beverly Burgess about Beverly Burgess. It's about her saying how she feels, and we're moving on to the next person. David Smith, I'm coming to you next. I want to hear. Huh? You said what?
She's crazy as a shithouse rat.
Well, that's her opinion.
He gonna get a charge.
She feels the same way. David Smith, I got you on the line.
Hello, Teslyn. Thank you for having me.
Hello, David. How are you? No problem.
I'm making it. I can't complain. But things ain't the way they should be. And things ain't the way they should be is because we keep playing games. We keep coddling their feelings. All cops aren't bad. I don't give a damn about the good cops because they don't give a damn about me. They making their money. They making their check. Why are we highlighting good cops? Why are we highlighting that all white people aren't bad and all this shit? I don't care what color they are. We need to understand there's too much compromise going on. I got these pastors and these leaders telling me we got to play nice. We got to compromise to get what we want. We've been playing nice for how many years? My grandma was playing nice when they locked her up in the jail up there in Georgia protesting. She was 8 months pregnant. The KKK marching around in the jail talking about they're going to burn it down. We don't even realize who the hell we dealing with. We dealing with the sons and the grandsons of these motherfuckers. And we dealing with the coons. Excuse me?
David.
Yeah.
We are in the era of the greatest compromiser in the history of dark-skinned people, and he resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, I know. You ain't got to tell me. You ain't got to tell me. It's too much compromising going on. Too much coddling. We're trying to act like we're trying to act like this American dream has been realized. We're trying to act like we're citizens and shit. We're not even citizens. We're talking about our vote. We don't even have the right to vote. Our right to vote has to be reinstated every so often.
I'm going to say this and stay on hold for me, David, because I want to get to everybody on this line. Don and I were the only ones, let's just put this out here to be real crystal clear, the only ones on the air that said you really need to think about what you're getting ready to do when you look at voting on color. Nothing against President Obama, current President Obama. We're very clear. And Don, I want to make sure you get a chance to watch Farrakhan on the Breakfast Club the other day. And he said very clear, when you have the highest office of the land coming out and saying, in regards to Baltimore, these thugs and criminals, you're basically giving a free ride to people who deal with thugs and criminals. So I think people are, and nothing against him, but I think people are waking up and realizing they're not getting anything out the deal like we told them that they wouldn't. I want to go to another call. Last four of your number is 9880-9880. You're on the line. Area code 407. Are you there? If you're just listening, say you're just listening, so I won't have to disconnect the line.
Taz.
Yeah.
Taz.
Go ahead.
This is really important to me. And Brother David sounded like he was an astute gentleman who was fed up, as many people are fed up. But as someone who has, as you know, traveled the country and been close to many of these conversations about what's happening in racial America, there is a push by the media, and I'm a member of it, I must acknowledge that, to engage this dialogue, but engage it under their control. Until we find the right person that we can rally around, and it won't be Hillary Clinton, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, black people, I know y'all want her to be like her husband was, but it's two different people. We must understand that the voice, we are voiceless. We are voiceless at a time where the most powerful figure in the free world looks like us. We are voiceless at a time when the last, the lost, the least, and the lonely are suffering greater than they have suffered in 60 years in this country, when the number one figurehead in the leadership of the free world looks like us. We are voiceless at a time. Ted, this is really heavy. When the number one figurehead in America looks like us, yet black children can't go to college at a greater rate than kids of illegal parents. Why are we voiceless at this time? And that's the challenge. And I charge people, people talk crazy about who they like and who they don't like, but I charge you to take this conversation up in those sanctuaries you spend 2-3 hours on a Sunday, because that's the only place we seem to listen. I charge you to ask these pastors, the Barneses and the T.D. Jakes and these guys who you listen to vehemently because you believe that there's some acknowledging them and speaking to you through them. I charge you to ask them to take up this conversation. T.D. Jakes won't take up this conversation. Nobody will take up your conversation. So when you find yourself at a place where nobody's taking up your conversation, but people like Reverend Sharpton, and he's really not a reverend, when you find yourself in a place that the people who you see on television across the country speaking on your behalf has an agenda greater than your agenda or not even close to your agenda, we must look within ourselves. Black folk, we are.
And we also let's just not stop at the president. Let's not just stop at the president. I mean, everybody, all the Democrats who were under him, they were afraid to speak up because again, they didn't want to lose
their seat. Guess what happened when? No,
you know that
there were a few people. There were some. Let's talk about the ones who spoke up. Let's be clear here. For the first time 3 days ago, the Democrats said, "Screw the president." You saw that, correct?
Your phone went out. We didn't catch you.
I say for the first time since this president's been in office, many of the black Democrats said screw you when they voted against the trade bill. But what about the ones who spoke up early? What about Maxine Waters and Charles Rangel, okay, and Benny Thompson? Look what happened to them. They were attacked by white Democrats at the hands of someone who looked like the people who spoke up. When Maxine
and then what happened? They didn't speak up. They didn't speak up when they should have spoke up, and it wasn't loud enough. I mean, Don, you know that, and it was because they were worried about losing their seats. Look, then lose your seat then. Then lose your seat. If it requires you, if it requires you to lay down your character, lose your seat. This is why I could never run for office. Why I got off the ballot immediately, because I'm not willing to lay down who I am as a person, all because I'm worried about keeping some elected seat. It's just not worth that to me. So when they did speak up, it wasn't loud enough, it wasn't clear enough, and they're not doing anything now on a loud national level. That's just the reality. And I thought Dr. Johnson really broke it down. The symbolic idea of leadership is what black people have. You don't see Chinese Americans running to be president of the United States, so they know they control the economy. If you control the dollar, the lobbyists run the politicians. Worry about getting lobbyists so you can run some of these politicians, because that's definitely who's running the church, whether people want to believe it or not. Churches are so worried about their grants and their charter schools and their mega ideas,
their nonprofit status.
Exactly. That is why the black church doesn't speak up. That's why it's easier to do black-on-black crime, although, yes, black-on-black crime needs to be talked about, but a black-on-black crime forum is not a response to police brutality. Those are two different issues. One is about what happens to keep us from getting locked up, and the other conversation is what happens when a police officer locks our ass up and he abuses that power. It's a piss-poor, cop-out excuse to make it seem like you're doing something when really you're not at all. You're just not speaking up, period, because the idea is I'd rather have something than nothing at all. It's just a huge Betty Wright song. I'd rather have half a man than no man at all. That is the concept that we have because we are caught up with titles. We love titles. I want to get to another call because I don't want this all about us. Let me get to another call because let me take another call because it's just you and I. I got 10 callers on the line. If your area code is 407, last 4803. Last 4803, you're on the line. Did you have a comment? Okay, just listen. Thank you for saying that instead of just having me there because I'm not able to have someone scream. Hold on, Don. Let me take another comment because I don't want these people to hang up. So literally, let me take some calls. Just keep that right there. This call is coming Atlanta 770. Area code, last 46474. If you're listening, just listen. It's okay. You don't be ashamed. I have you on the line, 6474.
You sound like a pastor.
Are you on the line? Are you listening? Okay, I assume so. That's area code 770-6474. Let me get to...
But, Tess, you got to understand, when I'm on the phone,
go ahead.
If the FBI is listening, whenever I'm on the show with you.
Okay, well, you're gonna make me lose about 9 of my callers because I have a lot of people call from the street. DC.
Okay.
Having DC listen. You're on the line. Last 43360. Area code 202. You're on the line.
Yes. Hello, all.
Hello. How are you?
Fine. I'm great. Thanks. I just wanted to say everybody is so on point with this.
Okay, and that's it? All right, well, thank you for listening.
Yes,
I'll put you back on hold. Those who don't, people call in, everyone can't get online, so they call in. I appreciate it, and so that's why I'm asking people, are you listening, or just stand on the line. I appreciate you with rocking with me. Area code 321, last 48125. Last 48125, you're on the line. Are you just listening, or do you have a comment?
Good afternoon. This is Jabril Ali. How you doing, Tesla?
Hey, Jabril. How are you?
Hey, Brother Jabril.
All right. Listen, it's a great call. I want to put some things in perspective, first of all. I mean, are we talking about national issues as it relates to police brutality, the socio-economic impacts? Are we talking about justice for Noel Carter? Let's first, establish the terms here.
Redirect. We're talking about justice for Noel Carter and the black leaders that could play a role in that, but of course, we expanded the dialogue to something greater because that's what Don does. But yes, we're talking about Noel Carter, what's happening with him, and the leaders there. You want to expand on that?
Don't be mad at me because I'm national.
Listen, I'm not mad at that. I just want to make sure, because the reality is we have to understand what we're talking about. If we're looking for to discuss things ad nauseum, we can do that. There's 1,000 things that we can talk about in our community that's affecting us, but Noel Carter is what we're talking about this evening. And, I'm a lifelong resident, again, Tesla, you and I have become battle buddies, through the campaign, and I'm not here to bring old feuds up, but the reality is we haven't heard much from elected officials, and Don, you're right on target with that. But I want to kind of circle back to what Natalie Jackson was referring to in terms of what are the things we're looking to get resolved out of here, right? If anything, we don't need necessarily a figurehead to, rally and say this is what we want, whether it be sanctions, terminations, what have you. We need to understand what it is that we want here, right? And that's the first thing we have to do. And then furthermore, we got to think about long-term solutions to policing in our communities. I mean, listen, black folks, as much as it doesn't sound good, we need some of y'all to be law enforcement officers. Right?
Hello.
We need. I mean, think about it. The District 5 has a discretionary fund. What if we can give scholarships to Orange County or persons in our district to become police liaisons? I think this is a great
or
step.
Police. Right. That's
what have you. I mean, to work them into the fold. I mean, again, we can't expect outsiders, as my wife earlier positioned the argument
Jabril,
that.
But let me ask you this. I mean, like the police, just because somebody's black and Hispanic, if we're going to talk about Noel Carter, the two officers, and I know this is just one isolated incident, but I'm wanting your thoughts on that. The two officers that were involved were Hispanic and black. When we look at the chief of police, the former chief of police, before Chief Mina, was black. Where is Val Demons on this issue? I was in love her to death, but where is she on this issue? She said that she's with the people now. She's no longer on the police side. Where is she on this issue? Where is her husband on this issue? The black sheriff. So when we talk about more in the fold, let me
tell you like this. I'm going to do like Chief Mina. Okay, we're waiting for the facts to come in regards to our leaders. But that's the type of leadership that I don't want to have. Right, we need to be proactive in saying, again, we don't expect for a person to be hit in the head. How many hits does it take for it to become police brutality?
Right.
How many?
But I just want to know, when you say put more in the fold, who are you talking about specifically? Because I think Orlando has more black leadership, and I can't just say just the police department, because it doesn't work that way. All of them are interconnected, so we can't just make it specifically about the police department, because if anybody knows politics, we know who raised money for who got who in office. If we look at and let's just be clear, no, I'm using Stacey's word, no shade. I love throwing shade, but Stacey, that's her word. But if we look at who raised money, who raises money for more Democrats there than anybody else? I mean, let's be clear. Who's the white lady that raises money for Jerry Demons and most Democrats? So let's be clear. Don't want to throw her name out there because I'm not here to insult her, but I'm being very clear that these, when we talk about Orlando politics, and that's why that conversation is very relative, it's all interconnected, and there's more black leadership there in that area than a whole lot of other cities. When we had now Chief Belvin Perry's no longer in office, but I've never seen a city that small that had the chief of police black, the sheriff black, the chief judge black, several blacks in the state from the Senate as well as on the House. Black county commissioners, black city commissioners, black superintendent. So all that blackness, black mayor of Edenville, all of that blackness means what? I know we have a hell of an Onyx Award. I know we have a hell of an Onyx Award. But outside of that, what has all that black leadership got us? When we ran the police department. We ran the education system. We ran the judicial.
We ain't ran nothing.
We ran a damn
thing. Well, again, are we talking about public
ran
safety?
Out mouth.
This is what law enforcement and persons in the council and the mayor's office are going to say, that their responsibility, number one, is public safety, right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about violent crimes, murders. We're talking about assaults. Technically, if you look at the statistics, that type of information has trended downwards. What has gone up is property crimes, people breaking in other people's houses. That's what's going on, right? And so, I mean, the reality is, what are we talking about? Do we want to see police brutality? Do we want to see crime? I mean, these are the terms that we need to identify and start looking at. That's all I'm saying, okay?
First of all, Tez Figaro, I want to say something. You don't want to say the lady's name, but her name is Deborah Booth. She's a really nice lady. She's a great fundraiser, and she raises a lot of money.
Very well.
I cannot be on the show with black folk who soft walk around the issue.
I know soft walk nothing. I forgot her name, actually. But Deborah, I don't give a damn about saying. Hold on, wait a minute, because I'm not like the rest of them. I don't give a damn. Matter of fact, I can run down the numbers on which she was paid through Val Deming's campaign, through Tiffany's campaign, through Jerry Deming's campaign. Y'all don't soft walk around nothing. So you can take that over to somebody else. I just forgot her name. And I know she raised money. I just forgot her name, to be quite honest.
And the point is,
but I damn sure know how much she makes. Right. Okay, not a problem. I know how much she makes, and I know how much I haven't made. So you have to pardon me, Jabril, with keeping this as a political conversation. But go ahead, Jabril.
I am Mr. Ali.
Let Jabril talk, because Jabril, maybe you need to lead up the calls on what the people.
Maybe he need to hire Deborah Booth. I can give you her number. I'm telling you right now, you need to hire somebody else to get some money, because the bottom line in this conversation is money. And I don't care what color your skin is. The fact of the matter is, the voice is not real if you don't have a backing.
It also depends on. Dr. Johnson broke. That's a whole different conversation, because we can go politics all day long. It also depends on who giving you the money too. So again, nothing against Deborah Booth, but all I know is I want somebody to quit asking me to do stuff free, and Deborah I was feeling real some type of way about that. But anyway, that's not the conversation, Jabril. I do want to direct it back to Noel Carter.
But if a snag-a-tooth prostitute give you a campaign donation, I encourage you to take it, long as it ain't
that's
cash.
Why I'll never run for office, because I'm okay with that. And the snag-a-tooth prostitute is not going to be trying to lobby me and pimp my ass out. So we know how this goes. So let's not play like we don't know how this goes. So, Jabril, let's get back to the Noel Carter issue and what people can be done. Because Don and I can go back and forth on politics all day long. And, Go ahead, Jabril, because I do like what you have to say, and I want to get to some other calls.
Oh, he's a bright guy. Go ahead, Jabril.
Well, sure. I mean, this isn't my first run-in with concerns with law enforcement. As my wife was mentioning, back in October of last year, here it is. I'm a community activist. I'm involved in so many groups that I don't even need to go through my resume. But the reality is, I was subject to racial profiling, and I filed a complaint and essentially came back and listen, they're going to say that they went through the statutes, and I've talked to law enforcement, and what they tell me? Essentially, sir, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, right? So we need to understand that the system is set up against us, and so what we have to do is build upon that a structure to move forward. I've rallied for, or at least talked about the body cam and dash cams mandatory for police officers. I've pushed John Mean. I've had conversations and sat down with him and said, let's do that. Again, I talked about appointing a liaison from our community. We have to build officers to kind of protect us. We also need to make sure that law enforcement, what Natalie Johnson talked about, is undergoing further additional diversity training. Although they may be white, black, whomever, they need to understand the community to which they come from. Also, we need an extended citizens review board who can look at these incidences and actually take action against law enforcement officers. We need to have greater citizen control of those things. And so these are the things I believe are strongholds to move forward on an agenda that we can do. I mean, but the reality is we know what's going against us, so we have to prepare ourselves in education. We have to prepare ourselves in knowing the law, how to understand to engage them in a proper way so we don't get jammed up. That's just the reality out here. Until we do that, we're screwed. We're behind the eight ball. And beyond that, sure, we need to find a way to get economic power because that's the only tool that's going to be really give us the leverage we need.
Absolutely, sir.
We can use votes. I mean,
right. But if we look at Regina's race, you know, where we're talking about, you know, so don't need to sit around and play around with the conversation. You know, District 5, we went back and forth with that. She had zero money to win. She won with votes, so it can take votes. It just take the same vote when we talk about black districts. We talk about black districts. Don is talking about higher level, federal, all this type of stuff, because he's always going to broaden that conversation. But when we talk about the district that you live in, the community that you live in, that got in 100% votes. Regina probably had a couple $1,000, if that. One thing I did commend about her is she did knock on doors and get out there and make it happen. How much did Juan raise? Damn near $40,000, and he lost. So it's not always about the money. It's about engaging. And so I commend you, Jarrell, for engage. Like I told you during the race, you're engaging more than Juan. So perhaps this is an opportunity, again, for leaders to come out and engage and actually do something about it. You did have a forum on the body cams early on. That should have been Juan instead of you, since he say he the one that did it. Since you're saying that we need to understand the law, then going to Stacey's comment, then why the hell is Juan not talking about this? He's the one that says he understands the law, and he was the one that claimed to be pulled over and picked on. So at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with who is well-versed in the law or who has money if we talk about District 5, because we're talking about the black district in City of Orlando. We're going to keep it local. Let's have a local conversation, and let's not skate around the issues. So we're talking about local. Let me just finish this one statement. If we're talking about local, we're talking about in City of Orlando, we're talking about Sam Means, and we're talking about Commissioner Regina Hill. And neither one of those races take a bunch of money. Neither one of those races take a bunch of votes. It just takes somebody who is going to engage the community. Regina keeps saying that she did community service before then, but as far as on the political scene, among people who did politics heavy, she was not a part of that scene. She was in the community. And so that played out well for her. So it takes somebody like that who will engage the citizens if you talk about black seats in the City of Orlando. Go ahead, Jarrell.
But unfortunately, that hasn't gotten us what we thought we were going to get, did it?
Well,
really, what does it come down to? I think it comes down to your idea you said earlier. Who has skin in this game, right? You want to call it out?
Right.
Are these people that you talked about, Juan Lynham, really connected to this community? Is Regina Hill truly connected to this community? I just throw that out there.
Right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, she's not. She's not.
So,
okay, and anybody who believes she is confused.
Well, I guess there's a difference of opinion.
No, Mr. Ali, let me just say this. She talks to people that nobody else talked to.
Right, but that's what got her in office, though. We can't discount that. That's what got her in office, though. That's what got her in office. We can't discount that.
There's no
got her in office, though,
to that
Don.
subgroup. You're right.
Okay.
It did get her in office.
Now let's be clear. Let's be clear for transparency, just so everybody, because we keep it all the way 1,000. Regina know it. Everybody know. Her and I don't. We're not on that level anymore. So let's just keep that. We haven't had there's not any bad blood between us, but we have a difference of opinion as far as how things should be done. So I'm no longer a part of her quote unquote camp. I'm okay with saying that. I don't play on the inbox behind games and all that. So that everybody know, I have no problem with helping somebody get in office. I also don't have no problem with calling nobody out. So I'm very honest and upfront with that. So that way ain't nobody got to be wondering, is this some strategy? There's no strategy. So I'm here not even to be fair, but just to be real. The demographic that she did engage did get her in office. Do I like the things that I've seen from her? Do I like the things that I've seen from her since she's been in office? No, I'll tell you one thing that I didn't like that I heard today, where she said, she's had 500 meetings since she's been there, and people need to meet or either send an email. Well, that's impossible. Several thousand people, a lot of people, first of all, if you're in the district, a lot of people have jobs, 2 jobs. They can't come off in the middle of the day and come down to City Hall and have a meeting. Number 2, if you know your district, half your people can't afford computers. How do I know? Because I employed half the district. So I know they can't afford computers, much less the internet. A lot of people do have that access. I'm not trying to, put anybody down, But when you look at an area that is stricken with poverty, they may not have the resources to send you an email. The bottom line is she needs a communication plan, like I tell her and every other black elected official that I have talked to, every last one across the board. None of them have their own internal communication plan outside of what the city gives them. She says the city has her own PR. Tiffany has her own PR within the clerk, which is a totally different seat, but I'm just giving you an example because her thing is totally different. Bruce has his own. All of their stuff is connected with the state and the government entities, and those entities will never put something out that spins something the way it needs to be done that engages the base. They do not actively engage print, radio, and television with communication. Your job, when she said we can't force feed you the information, wrong, Regina, because the debate that she kicked Juan's ass on, she said in that debate, it's time for us to eat. So guess what, Commissioner Hill? You also got to feed them the knowledge. And if you are not feeding them the information, yes, you're supposed to feed them. Yes, you're supposed to send out press releases. Yes, you're supposed to send out. I'm not talking about just on Facebook. I'm not talking about the standard community newsletter that goes out. I'm talking about what her and I talked about, which is what our difference of opinion, having your own independent vehicle that gets the message out, and it's not just Lawrence Robinson. Shout out to Lawrence Robinson, but it's not just Lawrence Robinson because he doesn't engage everyone. So until black leaders, this goes with NAACP, Urban League, everyone else has their own communication plan, like the Black Panthers did. That's how they were funded off their newspaper. That's how they got their message out. Until you do that, you have nothing at all. And you know why they don't want to have it, Jabril? Because the more that you put people in your business, the more people are going to be in your business. And they don't want to have to handle all of the inquiries and the transparency.
I almost dropped my glass.
Well, let me tell you
this. Glass when you said that. Damn.
Well, let me tell you
something. The more people in your business, the more people going to be in your business. Give me that lighter right there. I'm going to hit this. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jabril.
Well, you know what I'm saying? This is why I've put out the mantra, leadership isn't a game. Right? If you're going to step in the seat, be prepared to dry that shit, all right? Don't sit on the sideline and play cute. You're messing with, there's millions of dollars at the table. There's people's lives at stake. When we're talking about Mr. Back to Noel Carter, this man is a professional, okay? Getting his ass beat on a Friday night. Listen, me and my wife, you see how we do business, how engaged we are? Listen, I could have been a Noel Carter sitting on the sideline, getting my ass.
No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. Cut it out. Cut it out. Now I'm going to go at you on that. Because you wouldn't have been a Noel Carter. They went on through. He would not have gone downtown in Orlando. Because if you go downtown in Orlando on a Friday, Saturday night, it's highly likely you're going to get messed with by the police. Next.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. The bottom line is he actually was a Noel Carter. They went all through his car. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what the hell Don's talking about. But go ahead, Jabril. And I want to take some more of these calls because people are sitting there listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think it's time for we pass this to someone else. I want to hear from LaWanda Gelzer and some other folks that maybe have.
Yeah, I want to hear from her too. That'd be awesome to hear from LaWanda.
But again, this. Like I said throughout the campaign time, we still have to be pressing forward. We have to keep pushing forward day in and day out. This cannot be something we just put on, on Facebook for a couple of days and go back to it. We got to give them that work. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be here, and I look forward to future dialogue with all of y'all. And I appreciate all y'all do out here. All right?
Okay, Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali,
yes, sir.
I thank you very much. I know we've talked earlier, but I want you to know that I have not forgotten about you, sir. And we'll talk real soon, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Stay right there. Stay right there, Jabril. Don't hang up. I want to get to some other callers.
Chaz. Can I give a commercial to Camus Special Selection Cabernet 2009?
Are you serious? Am I going to get my cut? You are such a lobbyist.
I am nice right now.
Okay. I'm trying to get LaWanda on the line because I was supposed to let me text her and get on the line. Vincent, you said that you're still on the line, but I don't see your number.
But Ted, let me just say something. And Ted, you break this down. I'm going to say something. Because what we did on my show, I think there has to be always an opportunity to educate the people who engage in this conversation. In the 1940s, a gentleman by the name of A. Philip Randolph went to President Roosevelt, and his cry as a representative of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters was for jobs and justice as he moved forward to merging the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters with the AFL, creating the AFL-CIO with George Meany. In 1963, again, they marched on Washington, and the cry was, again, for jobs and justice. And then in 1983, 84, they marched again on Washington, and the same cry was for jobs and justice. We find ourselves here in 2015 in America, and the conversation as it relates to black people still has jobs and justice in the context. What are we doing wrong, Tez?
Well, I think that conversation can go real deep, and I think it's because we keep marching about jobs and justice.
Wrong? Our cry,
I think if we keep talking, I think
has been for jobs and justice for 70 years.
You're right. Let me go to this call. Yeah,
okay,
let me go to this call. I want because I don't want these people to hang up. Last four 3722. Last four 3722. Area code 407. You have a comment?
I'll get me one.
Hello. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they got something else going on.
I think she's at the AmVets.
Hey, don't talk about the AmVets. Shout out to the AmVets. I really miss y'all. Can't wait to come back to Orlando. Shout out to the AmVets and Club Flirt. Last four 3112. Area code last four 3112. Are you there? Did you have a comment? If your last four is 3112. Okay, I'm putting you back on hold. Hit me up on the inbox, even if you're listening. I don't know why Orlando acting like y'all scared to tell me what's going on. Tell me if you're on the inbox.
How long is the show going to go? How long is the show going, Tez?
What now? Well, I'm waiting on the
show
line. Then we good to go. I got people on the line.
Let me just say this, okay? Listen, everybody who's listening, it sounds like many of your people have listened to my show prior to this dialogue. But I always try to educate or leave something to go read about later on when you're sitting at home with somebody you don't like, okay, or drinking. I want you to go and listen or look up Meritorious Manumission Act of 1710. Meritorious Manumission Act was a law in 1710 where black people, slaves, were granted freedom for snitching on other slaves. It was an infiltration of those who looked like you that they were granted freedom or granted another level of status to tell what was going on in terms of your ability to rise to the next level. And we live in a time now where the same situation is absolutely apparent. We must find and commit to people who are absolutely committed to moving the conversation forward about making the playing field level. And that gentleman, Mr. Ali, and I like him and his wife, they're good people. We need people like that. He came on the show. He didn't say nothing bad about the police. He's got to do this, and he's got to do it in a way, and he seems like he's figured it out, where he can at least be at the table and have them listen to his conversation. Miss Gelzer, and I can't wait for her to come on. She probably won't come on, Tez. I'm sorry, because I don't think she's credible.
Well, she always comes on my show, but maybe she heard you and decided not to.
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact is, we need people that... No, I'm not rude. I just think once you have ran a couple of races, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and nobody has engaged you... Probably more than 10. My point is this, Tez. I thank you for what you do. I spent a long time on radio, Tez, and I took a position that got me a lot of... I have been called an Uncle Tom by 3-year-old kids in the mall, okay? So I'm fine with it. The fact of the matter is, this conversation's got to be about seriously rethinking the way we engage. And these are the same black folk who said to me, and Nicole, if you're listening, you remember this, that Chief Mina was great for black people. Now, fast forward.
Who said who was great for black people? Who said who was great for black people?
They told me Chief Mina. They told me at a Regina Hill town hall meeting that Chief Mina was great for black people because he understood.
Oh, okay.
So the point I'm making is this. If the white chief and the white sheriff don't understand, the black chief and the black sheriff don't understand, what make your ass think the white chief don't understand? The fact is, we are so confused as a nation of people that until we recognize what we have to do, like the Hispanics, let's be clear. I applaud the Hispanic community because guess what? They got more Hispanic presidential candidates than we ever had. We had
but it's not even about the presidential candidate. It's not even about the presidential candidate. It's the ability to stand together, which is why if black people don't get it together, by the end of the year, I am going to tap into the Figaro Hispanic side because it's not about just having a candidate. It's about we put you in, we'll put you out. So until we get that mindset of we don't want to talk about nobody, we don't want to throw shade, we don't want to hurt nobody feel. No, we got to call it out for what it is. Yeah, we got to call it out for what it is.
A lady asked me today, Tez, why are there so many Republican candidates? And I want to say this before we leave this conversation. She said, well, why are there so many Republican candidates? Today, there's a new Republican candidate. Let me tell you why there's so many Republican candidates. Every Republican that has ever cast a ballot in America has a candidate running for president. No matter if you're far right, a little ways right, half right, center of right, you have a candidate in this dialogue. And that's what the Democrats need to understand at the local level and at the federal level. Right now, every Republican who's ever voted is engaged in the conversation now. Yes or no, Tez? Because they got a candidate. Okay? If you don't like them, so what? But they got a Rubio, they got Donald Trump, and we'll announce tomorrow at noon, okay? The fact is, every Republican who's ever voted is now engaged in this process. And I don't think the Democrats are engaged right now, Tez. And
well, no, they're not engaged. They're not going to be. And this comes down again. And I know Jarrell is saying, is this about Noel Carter? Actually, it is about Noel Carter as an example, but it's also the conversation was, for those who are listening, people are listening online, 347-327-9514. There is no time limit because I do want people to, if at some point we got to get off the phone. If Don, if you need to go get another line, that's fine.
I'm going to go in a minute because I'm drinking this wine.
Yeah, well, go ahead. I'm drinking wine, too. We both drinking together. Drinking and judging is what we used to call it.
But, Ted, you understand my point?
But what I'm saying is, but hold on. Let me say this because I want to be clear on the topic because we keep getting into national politics. The show's not necessarily about the Noel Carter case.
I know. I understand.
Because I want people to listen because you always take this to another level, and I'm trying to make sure people know why they're listening tonight. The case, this phone call is not necessarily about the Noel Carter case because it's not a lot of Natalie Jackson herself, the attorney, is still developing those facts. She has presented that to us. The conversation is about where is black leadership if they're speaking forward or against it or running from it because it's real easy to be a part of Black Lives Matter when it's not in your city. It's real easy to – that's Don breathing, y'all, not me. It's real easy to say – it's real easy to say, oh, yeah, I support Baltimore. Oh, yeah, I support Ferguson. Oh, yeah, I support – until it hits your city. We saw that with the Baltimore mayor that had every type of feedback when it came to Michael Scott.
I was there.
But then I was there. Right, but then when it hit her hometown, it became different. So the conversation, because I am focused on politics, is not necessarily about – what do we do with Noel Carter, even though I appreciate that Natalie has laid that 5-point plan out that she's looking for. I will recap it again, and I certainly will be supporting her in public relations efforts. The phone call is about what is our leadership, what leadership do we play in this role, and why are we not doing it? Because we don't want to get sidetracked. I know what we can do on our own, but this phone call is not about what we can do on our own. This phone call is about the people that we put in office. So that conversation does broaden to Democrats, Republicans on a national level. Look at Val Demings, Chief Val Demings, who I said, okay, are you sure this person hasn't been involved as far as community politics is concerned? She's always been a police officer 23 years. How do you know that all of a sudden now she's coming out, I'm for the people, I'm this? It doesn't even make sense. But because she's black, you put her in charge of the Democrat task force for the entire state of Florida, her and senior citizen Nelson. So now you wonder why the Democrats are not engaged. You do it because what? Because she has a polished background, she's black, she's polished, she's well-spoken. I'm looking at her be an analyst on politics when we've never heard her say not one thing about politics, not working on anything, even with her own husband's race. She shied away from that because of her role. So the conversation to me, which has always been, we have to pay attention to who the hell we electing and who we are putting in office. And so I have some people who are also sending me inboxes of their comments, and I love y'all to death, but I don't want to translate. I got to pull you out of, wanting to send messages. Speak up. Use your voice. If you have a comment on something and you think these leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do, speak up. There's one person on the line. I'm not going to call your name out, but I know you want to be involved in lobbyists. You can't play both sides of the game, sweetheart. Either you're going to call her ass out or you not. If you got a problem with what she's doing, call it out. Playing both sides of the game just don't win. And lobbyists going to tell you, to be a lobbyist, you definitely got to be firm on your position. And the person that you are protecting for her feelings or whatever reason, guess what? Lobbyists, to be a lobbyist, they're not sending her no money. So lobbyists is all about money. So if you want to be on the lobbyist, I'm going to be clear on my girlfriend who's listening. Yeah. If you want to be be a lobbyist and be involved in this game and have influence, it's not going to be about being buddies with these politicians or friends or we're all one community. You're either going to be an activist, you're going to be in the community, or you're going to be a lobbyist, or you're going to be a boss. You got to pick and choose what lane you're going to be on. I'm not to be an elected official. Yeah.
Tez, real lobbyists are bosses. Please understand.
Right.
Okay? Right. If I call any of them Tez, they answer my phone call on the first ring. Real lobbyists are bosses. But let's get to the conversation about Black Lives Matter.
And let me just say the reason why they're bosses because they know that a lobbyist will put them in office and take their ass out of office.
And take them out immediately, okay?
Right, immediately. So if you're going to go on that track,
I'm a lobbyist?
You have to be real clear. No, because this is not what this phone call is about.
Okay, anyway, the fact is you threw a shot at me. Listen, let's talk about
I love lobbying. I feel what I do is lobbying. I mean, yeah.
Black Lives Matter is a serious weapon distraction. If mattered, you look at Chicago today at the 200 murders and the 1,000 shot and wounded. If Black Lives mattered in the last 40 years, we've killed 18,257,000 abortion. Let's be clear. I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying. Black Lives Matter only when white people kill us? Let's be clear. So Black Lives Matter.
No, well, hold on.
Let's
be clear. Yeah. Let's be clear about this because I know you love transition and that and that. No, I get it. Black crime is an issue, but that's not what we're not going to confuse the conversation with. We're not going to confuse the conversation with Black Lives Matter. But would kill black people. Yeah, it matters when crime inside black on black crime. There's white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime. Right. We're not going to confuse that because, like I said in the beginning, that's a piss poor example of saying that somebody abusing power. That's like me abusing a child. Yeah. I know that I'm in authority. Let's look at what happened in McKinney, Texas. To have those kids sit on the ground begging to help this young lady. It's not the same thing as Boo Boo and Foo Foo that shoot each other in the street. They're both on equal terms. If Blood and Crips shoot each other, they're on equal terms. The police officer coming in from an authoritative figure and shooting my ass down like a dog in the woods is not the same thing, Don. I'm not going to let you change that.
We should be just as angry. We should be just as angry.
They should be, but that's not what this is about. We mad at all about people that abuse their power. If people want to do whatever they want to do in the street, that's them. But you don't need to worry about what's going on in the streets. But you don't need to worry about that because the people that live that life live that life. Matter of fact, on Thursday, I'm going to have one of the original. Let me answer this because I knew you was going to transition into this. On Thursday, I'm having one. Yeah, and I'm a transition too. I'm transitioning right on back. On Thursday, we're going to have an original Blood on the line, Triple OG. They know what life they get into. Whether we agree with it or don't agree with it or like it or don't like it, it's called charge it to the game. They're okay with the life that they live. So it's not necessarily right or wrong, but that's not up to us to tell us what type of life you want to live. You want to live by the sword and die by the sword, that's your damn business. But a police officer that has the public trust, that is in charge, that can come through here and knock on this door, make everybody get down, and I can't even defend myself, it's not the same thing. And I'm getting sick and tired of people changing that conversation because that's not what that's about.
Okay, listen, Tez, let me just say this. As a street dude with some really nice suits, I'm going to say this. In Chicago alone, in the last 10 years, more than 565 people have been murdered by people who don't know how to shoot guns right.
I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with none of that.
Thugs don't know how to shoot, okay?
Okay, well, listen, I don't care if they know how to shoot, don't know how to shoot. The bottom damn line is, we're talking about, well, you like the po-po. You say you a street dude, but you like the po-po. I'm a little bit more street than you.
I don't care if a thug kill a thug.
Saying,
I encourage all thugs to kill each other. I hate thugs. I wish they should have a day where we could just hunt thugs.
Well, guess what? I love thugs. I got much love for thugs. I wouldn't be with nobody different than a thug. Love you, baby. Always got your back. Thug life.
Thugs go hard.
Thug life. Yeah, they go hard. I got to have one. I got to. But at the end,
let me just be clear. I just think the conversation. The conversation is real because when we listen to people talk about this, I just encourage my people, black people, to be informed when you engage in this conversation. You know, so many of us get sucked into weapons of mass distraction. This white lady that faked like she was black, Rachel Dolezal, that's a weapon of mass distraction. Who cares? Bruce Jenner, weapon of mass distraction.
I do care. It didn't have to go on for days, but I do care because if you're
a
liar,
you're a liar.
And you're a liar. If you're a liar, you're a liar. And we got enough black leaders who be lying. If the last four of your number, let me see, because I got somebody that don't want me to call the last 40 number. If your ass is saying, I miss you too, baby. If you're saying that you black, first of all, that conversation is really about light skin, dark skin. You know, I told Stacey this is really, a deeper conversation. The beyond, because Stacey said, well, she knows what it is to be black. No, she knows what it is to be light skin because dark skin sisters have different, and I can say it because I'm light skinned and you hate light skinned women. You and Vincent have a hate.
I don't want nothing to do with. I don't want nothing to do with a light skinned woman ever. Light skinned woman can't do nothing but show me to a dark skinned woman. Okay.
Well,
I'm telling you right now.
So we talk about what Rachel went through. She didn't go through nothing but what a light skinned girl go through. But the bottom line is, we don't need no more lying ass leaders running no black organization.
But Rachel's problem is a problem. Rachel's problem is a problem that nobody talks about in our community. I don't know about the other communities. That's a problem of mental illness. I hate to say that, and I did a show today, a national show today. She has a problem.
Well, we know she's crazy as hell, but we still right. But it's fascinating that somebody really did do that. It was like Soul Man. I mean, it was fascinating. It was pop culture.
Because you could have stayed white. She could have stayed white and got broke off by Big Skeeter anyway.
Actually, she would have got broke off. Actually, she would have got broke off by the NBA. Big Skeeter definitely wouldn't do anything, but the NBA, the National Basketball Association, is the one place you definitely don't want to be a sister because we can't get no love. I'm gonna bring up. We're getting all distracted, y'all. We're getting ready to wrap up the show. I do want to pick up this last line. 1303. You're on the line. I can't keep up with whose number I'm not supposed to say. I apologize. I'm just trying to go down the list. 1303.
I can't do a show unless it's some humor in it.
Yeah. Well, I guess they don't have anything to say. Laura, let me go back because I think are you there? 1303.
Yeah, I'm here. I actually caught the end of the show because I just got off work, but I listen to you often, Teslin. I do got something real quick to say. I agree with everything that Teslin is saying because if you, like she said, you choose to live the street life, then you know exactly what you're signing up for. But if you're a cop and you took that oath, then you don't have the right to abuse your authority. Simple as that. Whether if you're black, white, green. But it just seems all of a sudden that now everybody is seeing what's really going on, and it's really bad that a lot of our race, the African Americans, are distracted by unnecessary stuff. And it's sad that it takes, a white person killing a black person in order for them to stand up 80% of the time when we do have, certain things going on in the community where it is black on black crime. But the issue that is at hand is that the black on black crime that's in the community, they're choosing to do that. So that's the choice that they're making. Now, when it comes to a higher authority, if I'm not mistaken, in their oath, they're not supposed to abuse their power.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's called public trust.
Right.
And a lot of people who want to escape. A lot of people who want to escape the issue. Meaning, I'm supposed to trust your ass. If you're the police officer, I'm supposed to trust you. I trust you. I trust you with my life.
Right. If someone's killing me, I call 911.
I need to know exactly. He know what the hell it is, girl. Don just love the popo.
The point I'm making is
And again, I love the popo too. Let's be clear. I was a police officer in the military. Willing to give my life.
I don't love the police.
So we can go back and forth
police.
all day long. I was with Boo Boo and Foo Foo and them, and I was on the other side. So at the end of the day, I am not.
You were what they call a snitch.
You've been on both sides.
No, baby, I ain't never been no snitching. Please don't say that, because I know some real people for real. And you can see that. That tell you right there, Don ain't from the streets, because he would know not to just throw out them random ass terms. So everybody know I'm official. Been knowing me for 20 years. The point is, Don is the snitch. He's the one with the CB in his back pocket, y'all, just in case you need to know. But the point is,
it's right next to my weed.
Right next to the weed. Ask Don what happens when he get pulled over and when I get pulled over. Trust me, they all know him. At the end of the day, this is not what this is about. We're getting distracted. The point is, you're absolutely right. An abuse of power is totally different than what Poo-Poo and Boo-Boo and them doing in the streets, because that's their business.
Exactly.
Stay out of it. We have to focus on what is happening. Do I like seeing my brothers killed? No. Do I like seeing my brothers locked up? No. Do their lives matter? Yes. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And we're not going to distract
again, you got to understand how many people are killed by random shootings of idiots who can't shoot guns, who've never went
Well, this is not about going to target. Are you saying that thugs need to go to target practice? This is not the issue.
That ain't the issue.
Would it make it better if they did go to the gun range and get some type of practice? But my thing is, you have Caucasian people that are doing Caucasian people that are doing a lot worse, and they're not getting killed. You got cops that will roll up on Caucasian people with knives.
What the hell is Don talking about? People in Chicago got killed by drive-bys and everything else. So I don't even know what he's talking about. Are you saying have better aim with the drive-bys?
Yes, better aim. That's what I'm saying, better aim. Yes.
They need better aim when they robbing someone?
The aim seems pretty good, but if they got killed, the aim apparently worked pretty well. I mean, the aim seemed to work.
Not for the 7-year-old. Not for the 7-year-old.
Okay, well, you're right about that, but that has nothing to do with the hell we're talking about. We're talking about Noel Carter first, as much as we can, because we don't know a lot about it, which is Natalie says if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. I could care less about class. I want to know what the hell when you see a clear video, what black leaders are going to say anything at all, publicly, not behind the scenes, not I'm working on it behind the scenes.
Tez, you're right.
Publicly.
Tez, you're right, and I apologize. I apologize for doing the way I do this. I apologize because this is not my show. This is your show. But I believe there's laughter in all we do, and I laugh to keep from crying.
Well, you know we laugh and play, but I'm saying I know you're.
But the point I'm making is, it's not. Listen, when you go back to Orlando and Noel Carter and Natalie Jackson, and that situation that happened last week, when you elect people like Regina Hill, who is under the guidelines of criminality in America, she is a career criminal. Yes or no? Would she be considered a career criminal? The representative from that district in Orlando is a career criminal, right?
I got to put somebody on mute. I don't know if that's. Go ahead.
That's a young lady on the phone with us. The other representative from that district, you got a career cop and a career criminal representing the people of that district. Now, you know I like to have a good time with this conversation, but I don't want to go too deep because I know. Let's listen. You got a career cop and you got a career criminal. At the point of the career criminal finding credibility, see, when career criminals, and it don't happen often, when career criminals find credibility, guess what happens to career criminals? They shift significantly. So you got a career cop in Sam Ings, and you got a career criminal in Regina Hill. That district is not protected from the people who you believe has the least respect for you, which is the cops, because you got a career cop and a career criminal. So really, who gives a damn? Neither one of those individuals are going to wake up one day and say, I'm going to take a stand against this young man being kicked to sleep.
Well, Virginia said she's going to guarantee that justice prevails.
Okay. And when she gets through blowing in her car to get it started, okay, let's be clear here, okay? When she catch her breath from blowing in her car to start it, okay, then what? The fact of the matter is the black community in Orlando had an opportunity to make change, and they elected a career cop and a career criminal. Shame on you.
Hey, let's go to Niecy D. Niecy D in the building. Have a comment before we get off the line. We got about 10 minutes. I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Golly, man, y'all over here just tripping. What's up, Don Miller?
I love you, Niecy D.
Watch your mouth.
Look, one of my
everybody who's listening, so that everybody who's listening, I am Niecy D is on the line, one of the female DJs in America, putting it down for how many years, Niecy?
Man, what?
Hey, we 25? Don't need to throw no numbers out there. This is
25. I was drinking with her 25 years ago.
Okay. Look, but this is what's more important. I'm more than a DJ. You understand what I'm saying? And I've been listening to everybody visiting on this call and their comments and everybody's comments and their passion. And I really respect everybody's comments. But here's the deal. After it's all said and done, it's not like you get ready to unask these seats, okay? So with them being in the position, regardless of what the nicknames of them are, what are we going to do? Because at the end of the day, the chief is going to be there. The commissioners are going to be there. We need to stop worrying about throwing the shade and throwing the names and all this other stuff and get to a focus point. We need to figure out what topic are we going to deal with at a time, because there are many. There are many. It's not just going to be moving somebody out of a seat and putting somebody else there. There are layers upon layers upon layers.
But that's a part of it, though, Niecy.
It is a part of it.
It's certainly, and I understand what you're saying. Let's deal with what's in front of us right now,
let's
which is Noel Carter.
Right
and no question, we're going to do that.
Yeah,
we're going to do it.
Let me just finish this
all
my dear.
But we do have to talk about, because I have to every chance I get. That's why I started Blackout 2016. Every chance I get in Orlando, you better believe it, I'm coming for you first, because I don't have nothing to lose. I'm not looking for no contract.
Let me tell you something.
I have an issue with plenty, not about being friends, not about whatever. It's real. When I have to speak up on, because this is our opportunity, Niecy, that we haven't had as far as police brutality. We get to escape a lot of these issues because they're national conversations. So my point was, yes, we have to go through the motions, but I want people to pay attention to see what their leaders are not doing, and that's why I started Blackout 2016. Nothing personal to nobody. I just want to say, when we shine a light on you, what are they saying? Right.
Exactly. And that's important. It is important. I'm not saying that is not a factor and that's not an important topic. But what I am saying is we need to prioritize these things. And if that's going to be what is going to be, the initial focal point, fine. But have a plan. Other than just calling them out and everything else, and so-and-so's a cop and so-and-so's a convicted felon, because at the end of the day, there are still other variables. Convicted felon who expunge records and can get the seat through the vote, then we can't be mad at that, because that's the process.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it, because I was on the winning campaign. So just for a point of clarity, everybody listen, I damn sure ain't mad because I was on the winning campaign. So, but go ahead.
Exactly, and we know that you were. You played a vital role, but we also have to hold people accountable. We have to get some complacency and really deal with that. We have to deal with the good old boy and the good old girls club, and we have to start saying, listen, if you're not going to stand up and say to your fellow officer or to your fellow coworker or whatever the case is that is wrong, then we are condoning it. Isn't that what they do? Isn't that what they do in the street? If you won't say, give up the person or, then you're going to jail too. So if it works out there in the street, it needs to work the reverse.
Now you just hit something on the nail, and I'm gonna comment on that because you just hit that right on the nail. And shout out to David who just put a post on my wall saying "Tez and love the thugs." Oh, no question. That's how it's always been.
Yeah, I love
always
thugs too.
But we do the streets for real. Don don't come with real. He did maybe 20 years ago. He did 20 years ago, but you know where I be, Niecy. You know where I be, so we don't even have to have a discussion.
I ain't never scared.
Right. The point is, you absolutely right. One reason why the thugs killing each other on the street, because this shit that go on in politics, which is what I wrote in my book. When I wrote Kitty's Litter, it was fiction, but it was real. What I see that go on with these politicians, with the backstabbing, with the saying one thing on one end and talking out the ass on the other, and doing this and doing that and stealing that type of stuff would never go down on the street. So maybe, perhaps the politicians could learn something from what the thugs doing. Then maybe you'll understand what rank means. Maybe you'll understand that you just can't say and do whatever without disrespecting your whole set. Maybe you'll understand that votes really is the trap. Maybe you'll understand how to move your work and move your muscle. So it's a lot that maybe they could learn, starting with loyalty, starting with loyalty first. Who put your ass in office, Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's a code of conduct on the street.
Everywhere.
Exactly. And
right.
when we talk about streets, we also talking about a different generation. It's not necessarily this new generation.
Don, stop breathing in the phone.
Right. Yeah, stop breathing in the phone, Don. You messing up the show.
I don't know if y'all ever drank a whole bottle of wine.
Look, all that heavy breathing and stuff. Look.
Right.
Look.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry about that. Niecy, I love you.
Take your Olivia Pope moment and put it on pause for a second.
Right.
I got it right here.
Right. So at the end of the day, they could learn something from the organization, and we're talking about the older heads, which is what I'm going to bring. And I wish that we could have used that same power in politics, which is why I push Concrete Roots, taking the politics to the streets. Because if we use that
here's
same
the flip side, and you know this, Taz.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the flip side of that, and you know this. There's several things that you bring to the table that I don't think people really understand. You bring that appeal to the street to the table. You also bring that appeal of the corporate American structure to the table. People can't do that. A lot of people can't do that. Don, I'm sure you can agree. That is a skill. When you have a certain skill base, when you can talk to both sides of the fence, and they can understand you and you can relate to them, and they know real, recognize real, that's a skill, okay? That is a powerful position to be in. So you take that, and now you say, I got to give you a voice. Because, Don, you made a comment earlier about we don't have no voice. We got a hell of a voice. We have a voice.
Well, we don't have enough. We don't have enough sense to have people like me be a part of their team. And I'm sorry, I just can't be your volunteer for the rest of your life. I'm just gonna be real. Black politicians need to get budgets. Need to go have Don raise some money. I had a little white lady raise some money. Same way you pay a little white lady. You need to pay for advertisement. You need to pay for radio. You need to pay for shows like this to stay on the air. So I'm just gonna be real about it all the way across the board.
And that's
I've worked
cool.
on a number.
I've
worked on a number of different races. They don't want to support this type of movement, Niecy, because they don't want to pay for anything. And it's not
about.
We got to be real.
Stop waiting for it.
Right. Exactly.
That's why
Black
people
media
have to
matters.
stop waiting. Stop waiting on somebody to be the voice. Be your own voice. Start rallying together. Start coming together and get on these kind of calls.
And you have to support.
Let me finish this, my sister. Let me finish this
Yeah,
real quick.
because I want to get Larry on the line.
We got Mr. Larry on the line. Okay. Larry, please hold on, baby doll. I've been waiting since 6:30, and I really want to get these thoughts out because I appreciate what you're doing, Tez, but it's important. I think that we need to stop believing that we don't have a voice, and I think we need to start understanding the different ways that we do have a voice. Stop waiting on somebody to come in the cape and rescue you from your situation. Start taking some approaches. Start taking accountability for your own situation. We can help change our own situation and not wait for some commissioner or mayor or chief or whomever to do it for us.
Come save us.
That's what we
Absolutely
have.
Right.
Don, you made you made something real. You said, what is it? We're in the same place all these many decades later. Why? Because we waiting. We have turned into a community of people waiting for a handout, waiting on a book bag, waiting on some keys, waiting on some shoes, waiting on, give me your guns.
Damn, I love you, Niecy.
So I can have you run.
Hey, we all on the same page. Hey, we all on the same
page. I love you.
I only have 2 minutes left, guys.
All right. Peace, y'all. Blessings. Thank you for giving,
I only have 2 minutes left.
On phone.
I only have 2 minutes left, and I gotta get. Thank you so much, Niecy. I want
to know what Niecy D's spinning at next. I want to come see Niecy D. I want to drink with Niecy D.
I gotta get Mr. Adams on the line because he's been waiting, and
Larry
I have several other people waiting. Thank you so much, but I love Mr. Adams because I know he's about to go in. Thank you so much, Niecy, for calling.
Who the hell is Mr. Adams?
We got 2 minutes left. Go ahead, Mr. Adams.
So how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for calling in. Mr. Adams and I, for those who are listening, we went back and forth. We went hard in the paint once on Facebook, but I always welcome people with strong personalities, even if we disagreed. I wanted people who were on this line that didn't mind speaking up. Go ahead, Mr. Adams. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Okay, first of all, in regards to the question, I don't think anybody is going to speak up and say anything publicly. They don't have the backbone for that. They're too complacent. Now, as far as the situation itself, I don't know if this has been discussed, but this is what I'm going to throw out there. What happened to the Citizen Review Board? And if that board is still in effect, why is it set up the way it is? Why isn't that board totally independent with subpoena powers and arrest powers? These are the type of things that we need in our community, not just in the black community, but in Orlando in general when it comes to our police department, our sheriff's department, law enforcement of all kinds. We need to have a way where, as ordinary citizens, not the ones making the campaign contributions, giving the big money, the lobbyists, but some people who are from the community, some level-headed people who can look at things in a logical way and come to a logical conclusion and make a logical decision as what should be done. Until that happens, we're going to continue to get shot, we're going to continue to get beat up, we're going to continue to get harassed because we have no way to get any recourse. You can't have the cops policing themselves. I was a cop. Cops are corrupt. I don't care who is the sheriff, who was the chief. Cops are corrupt. And until that corruption is weeded out from the police department, the only other thing that you're going to have is a way for you to voice your complaint where somebody other than the police is listening to that complaint, not the state attorney. The state attorney's on the side with the police.
Which ties into what Natalie said. And I hate to cut you off, but we got 30 seconds, Mr. Larry.
I understand.
I want to have this conversation again. Everybody, thank you so much. I got about 5 other callers. Orlando, I love you. You just support me all the time. Thank you so much, Nisa D. Always has supported my projects through hip-hop. Don Miller, obviously, you can see why Don Miller and I had such a good time on the air. I just want to recap 30 seconds. Natalie Jackson is asking for the officers to be fired, charges dropped, public apology, chief sanction, zero policy tolerance with the city of Orlando, and a new training for all police officers. Thank you so much for listening. You can hear the rewind on www.teslanfigaro.com. I will get with you next time. This week we'll have a lot of shows coming up. Dr. Umar Johnson, who I will be interviewing at KTLV 1220 in Oklahoma City on Wednesday. He will be doing part 2 of the interview that has went all over Twitter. That is a national conversation on exactly where we are, and a lot of his views are very similar to mine that you've heard tonight, especially in regards to black leadership. Also, I did mention to you that I will be interviewing an original Triple OG from Inglewood, California, that will be talking about what it was like to be a blood then, now, what could have been used for in a positive direction, and to give his story. I do not criticize, put down anyone that has been in my life. I respect everyone for their story, their opinions. But I certainly at the same time allow everyone to have an uncensored conversation. And that's what this show was all about, uncensored, live, cussing in politics. Some people very passionate because of what they believe in. There's also been more calm approach, a diverse approach, and from the DJs who I always support, because if you don't understand that the DJs have power, because you're certainly more than the DJ, but if you don't understand that the DJs talk to more people during a week than most politicians, then you are really confused. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Guess LaWanda didn't have a chance to call in, but I think we had a great informative show. Please share this again. The same link that you listen to will be the same link that you can share and listen to it live again this week. Dr. Umar Johnson, also original Triple OG, on Thursday, and then on next week, on next Wednesday, we'll be hitting you with another topic. Thank you, Orlando, for allowing me to still be a part of the conversation, keeping me updated on what's going on. You've been listening to the Tesla Figaro radio show. You can listen again at www.teslanfigaro.com.
TeslanFigaro.com.